Welcome to the July 31st, 2012 meeting of the Glendale City Council. May we have a roll call, please?
Council members Friedman.
Here.
Manukian.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Mayor Quintero.
Here. The flag salute will be led by Council Member Najarian.
Will everyone please rise, place your right hand over your heart, and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Shall we pray? This evening we give thanks for our many blessings. Keep us reminded that we are all traveling the same road toward the same destination. Let us respect one another as we go. And as the Council conducts the business of our fair city, we pray that all the decisions made this evening be in accordance to your plan. Amen.
May we have your report?
The agenda for the July 31, 2012 regular meeting of the Glendale City Council was posted on Thursday, July 26, 2012 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
What's next?
Next, we have presentations and appointments. At 3A, the agenda preview for the meetings of August 14, 2012.
Good evening, Mayor Quintero, members of City Council. The next week's meeting for August 7th has been canceled due to National Night Out. However, the meetings on August 14th, there are a number. In the afternoon, under Housing Authority, there's one report regarding the Section 8 Management Assessment Program, self-certification. There will not be a successor agency meeting, but there is a special meeting at 3 p.m. Regarding a sign variance for Islands Restaurant. Moving to the evening of the City Council, there's one report from the City Treasurer regarding the City Treasurer's annual investment review as of June 30th, 2012. Director of Public Works will have 3 items. The first is the Central Avenue and Agent Street Improvement Project. The second item is the Brand Library and Arts Center renovation project. And finally, there's one resolution of intent to auction city-owned property located at 765 and 749 Glenmore, as well as 1644, 1648, and 1652 Gladys Drive. Director of Community Development also has 3 items. The first is lease of underutilized public land located at 630 Geneva Street for a community garden. Second is an update on the implementation of the Glendale Fresh Air Ordinance. And the third is a continued presentation initiating zoning code amendment for the view protection related to new construction on hillside zones. Interim General Manager of Glendale Water and Power has 1 item regarding the rehabilitation of Glorieta Wells number 3 and number 4 project. And finally, Director of Community Services and Parks has 2 items. The first is an award of Workforce Investment Act funds for Glendale Youth Authority and City of Burbank. And the second is a recommendation for reprogramming $23,000 in fiscal year 12-13 for CDBG social service funds.
Okay, thank you. Next, please.
Item 3B is Mayor's commendation to Bak Dong Kim.
Well, it is my pleasure this evening to present to you a very brave, strong, and intelligent 86-year-old woman, although she doesn't look it or act it, who has come to us from Seoul, Korea. And I'm going to read 3 different commendations, one for Ms. Kim and another for the survivors of military and sexual slavery by the Japanese Army, and then finally a commendation to the Korean American Forum of California. I'll start with the commendation to Bak Dong Kim. In recognition of your heroic activism to condemn the forced slavery and prostitution of approximately 200,000 comfort women for the duration of World War II by the Japanese military, I highly commend your bravery in speaking out against the atrocities perpetrated on countless innocent women and your admirable determination to see that justice prevails and retribution is made. And it's signed Frank Quintero, Mayor of the City of Glendale. The next commendation she'll bring back to the organization back in Korea. And may I add that this organization extends throughout the world, not just Asia, but also in the United States. And it reads, in recognition of your activism to condemn the forced slavery and prostitution of approximately 200,000 comfort women for the duration of World War II by the Japanese military. I commend your bravery in speaking out against the atrocities perpetrated on countless innocent women and your admirable determination to see that justice prevails and retribution is made. And then the final commendation is to the Korean American Forum of California, and they have been working on this and other issues of importance to Korean Americans and to the world in general. But specifically on this issue, they've been at the forefront of making not only the Japanese government and Japanese military, but also the entire world become aware of what took place in this awful period of time. And they also work with organizations throughout the world to try to prevent this from happening in our own time. The Mayor's commendation is presented to the Korean American Forum of California in recognition of your leadership and support in bringing to light the inhumane atrocities perpetrated on countless innocent women during World War II by the Japanese military, and for your admirable determination to see that justice prevails and retribution is made. And I'd like to have the entire council come down and so we can present the certificates, and perhaps then we'll also let them say a few words.
Good evening, Mayor Quintero and council members, staff, and fellow Glendalians. I'd like to bring them up, formally introduce them. Well, last night,
Go ahead.
City of Glendale commemorated 5th anniversary of U.S. House Resolution 121, passage of a U.S. House Resolution 121, which you just spoke of in your commendation. Last night, City of Glendale also proclaimed July 30th as the Korean Comfort Women Day. So the entire community, on behalf of our Korean community, we really thank you, Mayor, and the city for recognizing the Korean Comfort Women issues. I'd like to bring up the group here with Phyllis Kim introducing each members, and have chance to also thank the entire staff, the members, council members, and the city.
Let's go down and
Sure.
have some pictures taken, and then they can speak.
On behalf of Korean American Forum of California, I'd like to introduce 복동 Kim. 우리 할머니께 시장님께서 상장을 주십니다. 그리고 정대협에 하나 드리고요. 그리고 우리 Korean American Forum of California, Miss 복동 Kim is 86. Okay. 사진을 먼저 찍겠습니다. Miss Bokdong Kim was 14 years old when she was drafted by the Japanese military to serve as a sex slave, and she served for 8 years. And now she's working for the justice and the restoration of the human rights, not only for the former comfort women, but also for the all women victimized wartime sexual crimes in the world right now, especially in the countries like Congo and Uganda. Ms. Bokdong Kim would like to say a few words first, and then I would like to introduce other people.
대단히 감사하고 고맙습니다. 앞으로도 잘 부탁드리겠습니다.
Thank you so very much for all of your efforts, and I would like to ask for your continued support in this issue. Thank you. Mi Hyung-yoon is the executive director of the Korean Council for Women, drafted for military sexual slavery by Japan from 1931 to the end of World War II. Ms. Yoon.
아시아 태평양 전쟁 때 피해를 입고 그 전쟁이 끝난 지 67년 동안 여전히 인권 회복을 받지 못하고 길거리에서 세계 각지로 몸소 돌아다니며 운동을 펼치고 있는 이 피해자들에게 기쁜 소식 그리고 정말 그 인생의 즐거움이 이런 것이구나 하는 것을 안겨주셔서 진심으로 감사드립니다. 이 소식, 기쁜 소식 안고 돌아가서 한국에 그리고 아시아의 다른 피해 여성들에게 여러분들께서 늘 함께 지원하고 격려하고 있다라는 말씀 꼭 전하겠습니다. 고맙습니다.
Thank you very much for bringing the good news for the victims of the sexual slavery during the war all over from Asian Pacific region whose human rights has not been restored even after the war. We will bring this good news back to Korea, not only to the Korea, but to other countries where the victims come from, and share these good stories with them. Thank you. Now, Mr. Seok-won Yoon, Joachim Yoon is the president of the Korean American Forum of California.
Let me say that yesterday or last night's program was very, very powerful. It's so easy sometimes when you read history and when there's numbers and hundreds of thousands, it's easy to forget the individual stories, and not only Miss Kim's story. And by the way, she spoke for at least 25 minutes talking about her experiences, but also reading the publication that you gave out, individual women taken at 14, 15, 16, and all of the things that they went through, and how many tens of thousands of women never went back to Korea, they were lost forever. They were basically killed, they were victims of the war itself, so it's a very troubling history, and I hope that finally there'll be some atonement for the people responsible and some recognition of what took place. And I'm so happy that your group continues to work on modern day tragedies, as you mentioned, in Rwanda, Uganda, some other countries that you've talked about. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you again.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Najarian.
I would like to express my sincere appreciation and envy to the Korean community who was able to speak to the U.S. Congress and get them to pass a resolution 5 years ago recognizing the atrocities by the Japanese government against the Korean comfort women. As an Armenian, I can tell you that we have been trying to get a resolution through Congress for many years for the 1915 genocide. Like Japan, Turkey is a U.S. ally, but I must say you really accomplished something to get the U.S. Congress to pass the resolution, the House resolution. It really goes a lot. And I would like, on behalf of the City of Glendale, I would like to ask someone from the Korean American Council or the Korean American Forum to participate in our Man's Inhumanity to Man event during April. And we highlight atrocities throughout history by one group of people against another. And I think Grandma Kim's story would be excellent to present. She doesn't have to come back from Korea necessarily. I know it's a long trip, but if someone or her story can be expressed to the whole city of Glendale again, I think it's a story that we can't ever forget.
She's certainly strong enough to come back again. At 86, she has many years to go.
I also want to join my colleagues in commending you on your efforts and joining in this effort of recognizing the atrocities that were committed. Of course, I, being the grandson of individuals who were forced into slavery as well, sympathize with you in terms of what you went through and what your family's gone through over the number of years that you've suffered because of these atrocities. So I wish you would come back and teach our community about some of the issues that happened during that time. And one saying comes to mind is that if we forget our history, we're bound to repeat it. And just so people don't forget and don't repeat what was done before, I think we owe it to our neighbors and our communities to make it public what was done at that time, much more so than what it is. Because I didn't start hearing about this issue until very recently. So it is important for the whole world to find out what happened so that they can stop it from happening again. So thank you for coming today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to thank Chang Lee for everything that he does on behalf of all of the nonprofits here in the city of Glendale. And you can leave if you want. Thank you. Okay, next, please.
Item 4, are there any city council or staff comments?
Ms. Friedman?
Just wanted to mention a few events I attended this week to congratulate the organizers. They were all successful. The first one, I attended along with the mayor the annual installation dinner for the new officers of the Committee for a Clean and Beautiful Glendale, which of course is a nonprofit that supports our efforts in terms of a lot of the neighborhood services issues like graffiti removal, neighborhood beautification, many different things that they do and issues that they attend to. It was hosted at the home of Sam Engel, who's our neighborhood services director, who unfortunately is going to be retiring. So this will be perhaps the last time that he hosts the dinner, and I want to thank him for doing that and also for his years of service. He's certainly been a very dedicated civil service employee, somebody who is a Glendale resident and very much cares about the quality of life in our city. And I want to congratulate the incoming chair, actually chairman, I think they call it, who is Joan Zierhut, who's a good friend of mine, and it's really wonderful that she stepped forward to take the reins, because it's hard enough to be involved in a nonprofit, but to lead a nonprofit and to be the person who's always going to be at every single meeting and do all of the organizing is extra specially commendable. And I want to thank Pauline Ferguson, who's the outgoing chair. She did a really great job last year and really kept that group moving forward. So thank you, Pauline. I attended, along with several of my colleagues, a fundraiser for Her Minutemen Ararat, the Glendale chapter. The Minutemen, of course, is a group that provides recreational opportunities and tutoring for our young people in Glendale. They've worked with literally thousands and thousands of Glendale residents, Glendale young people, providing recreational opportunities for them. And I hope that their fundraiser was a big success. It certainly looked like it was well attended. I hope that they raised a lot of money. Congratulations to them. And lastly, I was able to attend a tour of, Mr. Najarian, you'll appreciate this, of public art in the metro system in Los Angeles. It was hosted by the Associates of the Brand Library. I'm a member of the Associates, and it was a wonderful tour. It was a lot of fun. And I recommend to anybody in Glendale who's interested in the arts, who likes going on private art tours that you can't get otherwise, although you actually can go on the Metro tour if you want, but they do a lot of sort of behind-the-scenes art tours. It's only, I think, $35 a year to be a member, and you get to go on all of these different events, and you support the library at the same time. So I wanted to congratulate the volunteers at the Associates of the Brand Library, and to thank Metro for providing this great tour. And they do it, I think, once a month. You can sign up and go, and it's completely free. And there's some really amazing public art in those subway stations if you haven't been in there. This tour was on the Red Line going into Union Station. And I've been on the Red Line before, but I didn't notice all of the art that they had. You really have to get out at several stations and go upstairs. And I'm at Union Station 3 or 4 times a month to go to MWD meetings. And I have to confess that I've walked past a few exhibits that I had never really paid attention to before, that now I'm going to stop and pay a lot more attention to them because they're just fabulous. So that was my week. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Manukian?
Yes, I also attended the fundraiser, the Home Minutemen fundraiser. I also attended a couple of nights before then the dedication of the Home Minutemen gym to my cousin's spouse, who passed a few months ago from cancer. Her name is Rima Abedi Sagarian, who we also adjourned the meeting, one of the council meetings in her memory. it was certainly a fitting tribute to her and the work that she's done in the community over many years with the Scouts as well as the athletics departments with the Hometmen Glendale Arara chapter. I also attended the opening ceremonies, the AGBU, Armenian General Benevolent Union, opening ceremonies of the World Athletic Games in Pasadena. I would like to congratulate the organizers. There were over 700 athletes that paraded that day, and there were over, I must say, approximately 1,500 individuals who were attending the ceremony. So it was a great event. And after the event, there was a concert with David Foster and a number of Elements Band and Shahbazian who were there and sang, and the kids had a great time. One other issue is that I went mountain biking over the weekend at Malibu State Creek Park, and for the first time I had a video with me, so I videoed some of my adventure, and it's on YouTube. You can go on and search Rock Garden 1 and look for it. Next time, I promise to take Mr. Mark Sturdivant, a preeminent expert in Glendale on mountain biking, with me. So, Mark, we're set. Next time, we're there together. Thank you. That's it.
Hopefully there won't be any YouTube video of hospital rooms or anything. I'm very impressed with Mr. Manukian's mountain biking escapades. Anything else? Well, I also attended the same get-togethers, Clean and Beautiful. They do a very good job. And the Homeniment fundraiser, AGBU, was especially interesting. I spoke to one of the parents from Uruguay. There were lots of young people participating from Uruguay and from Argentina, and then Iraq, Iran. They were literally from all over the world. And I also had the opportunity to go to the Central Library where Artie Kosakian's cousin talked about the book that she wrote about her grandfather and his problems and the family's problems during the genocide, growing up to become a pharmacist and then winding up in the Middle East and then finally in Jerusalem. Anyway, it was a very interesting book that she's written, and I believe it's for sale. We have to get Artie to give it a little more PR.
Towards Golgotha is the name.
Yeah, Towards Golgotha, biblical reference. And that's where he wound up in Jerusalem, which made it even more interesting. Okay, any comments from the staff? Okay. Yeah, let's move to 9A.
I will recuse myself.
Mr. Mayor, we have a comment from one of our Glendale police officers.
That's before 9A. But I will recuse myself when it comes to 9A because with my discussions with the city attorney, he clearly stated that there is probably no conflict with my work. However, due to an overabundance of caution, I will recuse myself when it comes to that item. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of council and city staff, Sergeant John Gilkerson from the Community Policing Unit. I wanted to come over and give a last 7-day plug for National Night Out. We have 1 week to go. There's a fan. We have a week to go, and rather than me go on about it, I remembered that we had a great PSA running on Channel 6, and if we can trigger that up, I think that will explain a lot about next week's event.
The Glendale Police Department invites you and your neighbors to take part in National Night Out on Tuesday, August 7th. This event brings community groups and neighborhoods together to increase knowledge of crime prevention techniques and resources that are available. Be one of the 36 million community members from all 50 states who want to let criminals know that their neighborhoods and cities are taking a stand against crime. For more information about National Night Out coming up on Tuesday, August 7th, call Glendale Police Department's Area Command Office at 818-548-4015 or visit www.glendalenno.com.
And that is the long and short of it. Comes up next Tuesday, our annual observance. We're up to, by tonight's count, about 50 events, which we've outdone ourselves once again. As we get bigger and bigger, it's a little harder to get bigger and bigger, but we're still striding. So if we can bring up the PowerPoint. To find an event in your neighborhood, or if you want to start an event, and even with 7 days to go, if you want to start something, we will coach you and get you going. GlendaleInInno.com. The next slide shows a screenshot of the website, and you can click on any one of those pins and bring up an event in your neighborhood. So if you want to see what's going on and who to contact, we have the lead officers for each district listed up there. And then the last slide is our office. If you want information on an event, on hosting an event, 548-4015. Any one of us can help you. I brought a few people up here with me today that are hosting events, and if they just want to step up and introduce themselves.
All right. Honorable Mayor and members of the council, my name is Sylvia Macias, and my husband, George Macias, and I moved to this jewel of a city about a year ago, and we love it here. We love the views. We live over in Oakmont Woods. We were persuasively recruited by Officer Matt Zakarian to start the first neighborhood watch program in our area. And we did so. We had over 50 members attend the meeting. We put signs up. He assisted us in getting permission from the city to do so. And then he persuasively recruited us to also organize and host the National Night Out. So we're very happy to do this. And as the police cannot be everywhere, we understand that. And in order to protect our neighborhoods and our areas, we have banded together to assist the police department and ourselves in protecting our homes. Thank you very much.
Honorable Mayor and members of the council, my name is Ellen Cadwallader, and I live up in North Glendale and Corsetta Highlands area. And I've participated in the National Night Out for the last several years. We really want to thank the city for joining with and in doing this and supporting it. And it's been a fantastic event for my own block, for our neighbors, for people getting to know each other first time and getting to then maintain a contact throughout the year. And it's been just really wonderful for the neighborhood and given them a real feeling of a connection to the council, to the police, and we just want to thank you for your support. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Margaret Hammond. As you know, I live on Adams Hill, and I know they're having a lot of National Night Out events. But at this time, of course, and have for years supported the National Night Out event at the park, Pacific Park, where Edison School is, because they do not have a group that sponsors there. And Lenore Solis, myself, Sharon and Bill Weissman, and several others have sponsored it and financed it, and feel that it's worthwhile because that is an area that is desperately needed to have good contact with the police department. It's the largest, the densest population in that area, and many families, 3-4 generations, live in apartments and homes in that area, and they really enjoy the night out. We have several hundred, actually, and we're looking forward to it being a success again this year. And it seems to be really helping out in that neighborhood, that the feeling for the children particularly, that the police are there not just to chase them or to harass them, but to help them and to guide them in the idea of being good citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kit Cole. I live on Glenmore, and I'm representing Glenmore Canyon. I think we were called Woodbury, and we decided to rebrand ourselves. I brought some invitations for you all to join us. If I can give those to the clerk. And just really quickly, I wanted to thank the sergeant for all his help, and Officer Sue Shine has been just amazing. So thank you so much. You have great staff in the police department.
Good evening, Mike Mohill from Glen Oaks Canyon. We'll be having our second annual National Night Out. I send out flyers over the weekend for all the neighbors in my neighborhood, and I'll be doing also for Pacific Park, helping them out too. Thank you.
I appreciate the consideration given to the event. I appreciate the cooperation with the citizens. They really put this on with our endorsement, so I appreciate the council going dark and joining us, and hopefully we'll be even bigger next year. But thank you very much.
Thank you. So next Tuesday, instead of having the council meeting, we will be out, the five of us will be out going to different locations throughout Glendale, but as the sergeant said, there are just so many locations, even if we each hit 3 or 4, I don't think we'll be able to cover them all. But that just shows that this is a very successful effort, and I think more and more people are becoming interested in hosting and getting their neighbors together. Ms. Friedman?
Well, first I wanted to thank everyone who's participating, which is a lot of people in Glendale, and to say that if you weren't planning on going, you really should, because no matter where you live, I guarantee you that there is a national night out being hosted right near you, probably within walking distance. And it's a great way to meet your neighbors and to talk about issues in your community, particularly safety-related issues, because the more we know each other, the more we can watch out for each other and take care of each other. And the worse it is for the bad guys out there. So be sure you get out and participate. And I also want to apologize in advance, because as they just said, as Sergeant Gilkerson just said, there's about 50, at least 50, and I know there's more than that. I counted at least 60 National Night Out locations. And we were talking about this today, but each of us can probably get to 3 in that night. So if we don't show up at your location, know that it's not because we don't like you or we didn't try to get there. Last year, I think I tried to get to 5 locations, and despite all of my best intentions, I think I maybe got to 3, maybe 4. So I wish that we could all be everywhere to visit everyone and tell them how much we appreciate them coming out for National Night Out, but we're just not going to be able to. So know that your council is out and about and with you in spirit, and we really appreciate everybody making this a great community effort. So thanks to everybody.
I also want to thank everyone. I was out last year and I took a number of pictures. I will be out this year as well. I will try to hit as many as possible, but this year I will be on my bike, and I challenge Mr. Sturdivant, no? Come with me, and we will hit all 50 of them if he joins me, I know. But we will take pictures, and we will be out there, and I will try to hit as many as I can. 6 to 9, 3 hours, that's plenty of time to hit all 50.
They're determined to get the Glendale Memorial one way or the other. No, riding the streets of Glendale are somewhat safe. Just make sure you have your lights. We don't want to give you a ticket. Okay, thank you very much. Would you read 9A into the record, Madam Clerk?
Okay.
Item 9A, Director of Community Development regarding Downtown Glendale Community Business District ballot phase. At 9A1 is a resolution forming the Downtown Glendale Community Benefit District.
Okay, I will recuse myself.
Mr. Mayor, after discussion and examination of the proximity of my leased premises that I use as a law office, at least that's what I used to do before I got elected to council, which is on 500 North Central Avenue. It is within 500 feet. There is a remote possibility that a decision on this item may affect my lease and may affect the value of any subleases that I may extend to other attorneys. In the interests of caution, I will also be recusing myself.
Okay. All right, let me read a few words into the record, and then we're going to go to the city manager and to Mr. Sanhagani. This item, there will be a report that will be made to the public by the staff and our consultant. And property owners are now welcome to change, withdraw, or submit their ballot to the city clerk. That ballot will then be tallied. The ballots will be tallied in the city manager's conference room, and that will be open to the the public. And in a few moments, I'm going to open the public hearing, and the ballots will be accepted until the close of the public hearing. So let's start by going to Mr. Scott Ochoa.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. There is a lot of formality and pomp and circumstance associated with this particular item because it does revolve around an actual vote, a ballot by the directly impacted stakeholders. The Community Benefit Assessment District that Mr. Hagani will discuss in just a moment really reflects an evolution in the way that services are being delivered in downtown Glendale. With the dissolution of redevelopment agencies and the reduction of services that follow, the property owners and business owners in downtown Glendale are stepping up to the plate effectively and are assessing themselves, or at least the question is being asked, whether or not to assess themselves to pay for a level of service that befits the image and style that folks have come to associate with all that happens in the hustle and bustle of downtown Glendale. And I think that's very important, that people are taking an active role and putting really their money where their mouth is, potentially, depending the outcome of the vote, to ensure that the environment in which to do business and attract shoppers, investors, diners, and moviegoers, and everything else is something that we can all be proud of. As you indicated, sir, this is a process, it will be a public hearing. We will take testimony, certainly, and we will be tallying votes, and we'll be able to report back very shortly. So with that, Mr. Agan, if you want to give the details.
Thank you, Mr. Ochoa. Mr. Mayor, members of the Council, just an overview. Last March, the City Council adopted an enabling ordinance that allows formation of community benefit districts under the City Charter. Then in June, upon the receipt of the necessary petition supporting a district, you adopted a resolution of intent to establish a downtown community benefit district. Tonight is the final phase and final step of that process, where you will be, Mr. Mayor, holding a hearing, and the Council will consider a resolution to form the district following the legally required procedures. I'm going to introduce Marco Lemandri, the consultant who has been hired by the steering committee for the proposed district, to give you a summary of the proposed benefit district plan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Manager, City Attorney Hassan, and City Council. Marco Lemandri, New City America. As Hassan had stated, you adopted an enabling ordinance in late March. The property owners then, who had been meeting for about a year and a half, had finalized their plan, which included a services plan, boundaries, and the cost. We approved the plan and the assessments in May. You passed a resolution of intent on June 5th, and tonight is the ballot counting and the resolution of formation. The property owners and business owners have been meeting since late November 2010, and this is the culmination of this entire process. There's around 23 blocks, and these blocks vary in size, but an average of 23 blocks, approximately 100 property owners, about 180 parcels. And the district will generate approximately $908,000 per year, and that will be funding special benefits, which are those services over and above what the City of Glendale is currently providing. About 83% of the budget is allocated for what's called sidewalk operations and beautification services, as well as district identity. So 83% of the budget will go into direct hard costs to promote the district. The term is about 7 years, and again, the assessments can only fund special benefits and not replace existing city general benefit services. The district would commence in the beginning of 2013 on January 1st. And it will be managed by a new corporation of business and property owners that pay into the district. What's unique, really, about this district is that there's tremendous momentum to do this. And I came in sort of at the tail end, but there's been tremendous enthusiasm to move this forward. We have this perfect storm of a lot of different changes. The economy is only starting to come out of the recession right now. There's a lot of businesses that are actually starting to see the corner turn a little bit. But we also know that there's some great new developments that are occurring in Glendale. And this really allows the business and property owners to compete as we arise out of this recession in the next 2 to 3 years. You have an excellent street grid here. You have great transportation access. You have beautiful public rights of way. And it's almost as if we just need to ignite all these assets. That's what this thing really is all about, is giving the business and property owners the tools in order to promote what they have. The business districts that we really develop today are the way we're redefining our cities, particularly in the state of California after redevelopment. So I would strongly encourage you to do and support whatever the will of the property owner is as soon as we count this ballot. But just be aware that this is happening all throughout the state of California, if not all throughout the country, as people begin to rely on themselves to fund a lot of these things that serve their mutual self-interests. Thank you very much.
Okay. At this point, I will open the public hearing and remind the potential voters that when the public hearing is closed, we won't be taking any more ballots. So I have a number of speaker cards. The first is Fran Buchanan, followed by Paul Chase.
Mayor, members of council, city staff, my name is Frances Buchanan, and I represent an 18-unit residential apartment building at 319 North Maryland Street in Glendale. These are single little apartments occupied by little old retired people, and they rent for $8.95 a piece. Behind us, directly contiguous from a 20-foot alley, are 7 restaurants: hot wings, sushi, Korean barbecue, Szechuan barbecue, Carousel, Panera, Numero Uno Pizza. When this building was built in 1957, there were nice little accounting offices there, and there were attorneys' offices there. The city has changed, and this is a 7-restaurant row, and 5 of these restaurants are directly contiguous across the alley from this 18-unit apartment building. The rodent termination bill is extremely high because the wafting of grease that comes from these greasy type of cooking is unbelievable. And the way the bins are dropped, they're bent, and so rats are prowling constantly. And there isn't a bin made that can undo the fleets of cockroaches. Big cockroaches. I mean, you ought to walk in that alley about 11 o'clock at night. You'd be afraid to, because they come in swarms. They come like in the Midwest you used to hear about the locusts. And not only that, we have to deal with the huge delivery trucks that come in with whole sides of meat and back into our tenants' cars, back into the building. And then we are to pay $1,921.23. We are assessed. This is punitive. This is really punitive. And why a little single, one room with a full eat-in kitchen apartment building would be assessed $1,921.23 for how many years? This is punitive. You can't do this to, we're not a business. We aren't zoned to rent to a business. We aren't zoned to do anything. And I am putting my ballot in. No, this is punitive. Who do I give this to?
City Clerk. Paul Chase.
How's that?
Paul Chase, followed by Rick Lemo.
Good evening, Mayor Quintero, council members, city staff. My name is Paul Chase. I'm with General Growth Properties, owners of Glendale Galleria. And what I'd like to say tonight is based really focuses on two things, and that is partnership and really taking advantage of a unique opportunity. What we're excited about as a company, and as I've been working on this with the other business leaders that are trying to present this to you, is something that is created, something that's really exciting in a partnership sense. And what I mean by that is this is a unique opportunity that allows us to partner with the city, allows us to partner with the other business leaders and business members in the city, and partner with Americana. And it also allows us to take advantage of a unique opportunity. You know, my region is everything from Colorado out to Hawaii. And I can't think of any community where you have a shopping center, a competitive shopping center, and downtown all in a row where you can take advantage of this. And so what this allows us to do is market this as a district and extend our market, which is really important. You know, many consider Southern California to be one of the most competitive retail climates or environments in the United States, if not the world. And that retail climate is going to shift here when we open Bloomingdale's and you have a new Nordstrom's. You know, it's a unique opportunity that we're excited about. I know the city is excited about. I know the community is excited about. And what we think this benefit district will do is allow us to continue to take advantage of the additional shoppers that come to this area as a result. So thank you for your consideration.
You turned in your ballot, Mr. Chase?
I have, yes.
Rick Lemo, followed by Dennis DiPietro.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, City staff. I'm here tonight speaking actually in two forms. First, I'll speak as Representative Caruso affiliated the Americana at Brand, and we have already submitted our ballot and have voted in support of this district. I will respect your time and not repeat most of the things that my colleague Paul Chase has said, but we are very proud to be working together, not just with the Galleria, but with the businesses on Brand, to form this district and make us competitively sound with other cities throughout our region, whether it be Burbank, Pasadena, Los Angeles, or other little districts that exist out there. We have had tremendous guidance, and our questions have all been answered by city staff and our consultant who you've met already this evening. This is a very unique situation today in these times when so many people are debating on the national front whether or not we should or should not increase taxes or assessments, and we're all stepping forward here saying we want to. We want to increase our assessment and be responsible for the dollars and how they're spent and what good they bring to the city at large. And so this is an opportunity that we ask you to support. We're going to count the vote here very shortly, and what I would ask is that you support whatever the will of the property owners is and approve the resolution this evening. Thank you.
You, Dennis DiPietro, that's the final card.
Good evening, Mayor Quintero, City Council, administrators, and staff. I'm here representing my family that owns about 1% of what the CBD area would represent. None of us like to pay fees or taxes that we don't feel go toward benefiting our property or our community. And in this case, this is an opportunity for us to be empowered to direct those funds to really help ourselves and our neighbors. And as Rick said, we urge you to approve this and accept the hopefully what will be the will of the other property owners to move ahead with this and set this up. Thank you very much.
Okay, I don't have any other cards, so I will close the public hearing. And with that, Sure, come to the podium. No, you have to come to the podium.
Francis Buchanan speaking.
I'm sorry, just would you open the hearing so that your questions are part of the hearing?
I'll reopen the public hearing. Go ahead with your question.
Francis Buchanan regarding 319 North Maryland, which is not a business, which is a residence. How do I get removed from this list? It's punitive, it's unfair.
Okay, you made that point, but that's the question. Thank you very much.
How do I get removed?
Right. Thank you very much. Please sit down.
Oh, you're not going to tell me?
Yeah, well, we're going to answer the question, but you've asked it, so.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'll now close the public hearing. Do you have an answer, either Mr. Ghani or one from the...
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Under the ordinance, at the conclusion of the public hearing, the City Council has some options, and those include at their discretion to establish the district, to adopt, revise, or change, or reduce, or modify the proposed assessment. But also at the public hearing, the City Council can make changes to or from the boundaries of the proposed property or in business improvement district that will exclude territory that will not benefit from the proposed assessments or activities. So it is within the council's discretion to examine the boundaries to exclude properties if it is within their determination that they don't in fact benefit.
Okay,
That's
well, as
allowed.
that property owner has described her building, I would say that it, I don't know how it's going to benefit from this new zoning. Can you instruct me otherwise? Is it zoned for any commercial use at all, or is it strictly...
I believe the property that was mentioned is zoned for residential, and but I must say that in the proposed district, there are several properties that are either zoned for residential or mixed use, which will be including a lot of residential units. So residential property is not necessarily excluded from the district at this point because of that reason.
Okay. How do the other council members feel about this issue?
Question. It was mentioned this would help or benefit the businesses and neighbors. This is a residential neighbor, cockroaches, rats, whatever. If this benefit district is formed, can some of the resources be considered to alleviate these kind of problems?
I would
if they
submit
do
to you, sir,
exist?
that the complaints that were raised really it seem like they are outside of what the view of what the assessment district is. I mean, if we have problems with trash removal, with littering, with health department, though there are very specific and very real punitive types of steps that can be taken to ensure that those problems are abated, that are really separate and apart from the assessment district.
I'm just trying to understand what specifically then the neighbors benefit by the benefit district.
Under the proposed plan, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Weaver, for example, the trash collection that right now by the city is done 3 times per week would be done daily. This sidewalk cleaning, which at this point is not done, would be done twice per month. The sweeping that happens every other week would be done 4 times per week. So the overall purpose of the plan is to go above and beyond what the city already does to minimize the kind of impacts that you might see from these types of activities.
That's the benefit to the neighbors.
The overall
to the entire district, yes.
And I think the idea...
This is the east side of Maryland.
Right.
Some is residential.
This is the west side of Maryland, which butts up to the district.
Residential is on the east side, isn't it?
There's one residential building, you know where the Hot Wings Cafe is, right on Brand?
Yeah.
It's that residential
Just
building.
that one residential unit.
But if we
West
have...
side.
My point is that if we have issues, if there are, not we, but if there are issues of management of any restaurant, pick one, there are ways to address that are separate and apart from the district.
Understood. I'm just trying to see when the term neighbors, it'll benefit the neighbors. I'm trying to understand what that means. I understand how it benefits the cleaning the sidewalks every day like they do at the Americana. Picking up the trash every day, that will reduce cockroaches and rats or whatever. So side benefits that way. So I'm just trying to understand in my head, concerns of neighbors and stuff. But it's only the west side of Maryland we're talking about.
Correct.
Okay.
And I would just have the council, I think, look at the option too, that since this is a mixed-use community, as you develop in the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see increasing apartment and condominium developments in this footprint. So I would tell you, as someone that actively manages a district on a daily basis in San Diego that has over 2,000 condos in it and over 800 apartments, that some of our biggest advocates are, in fact, the residents, because they get services over and above what the city of San Diego is providing. A lot of the issues that were raised were land use issues and zoning issues. We have to make a justification for someone being excluded from the district based upon the fact that they will not derive benefit. It was our belief when we set the boundaries that they would derive benefit due to the sidewalk sweeping, the cleaning, and other services such as that.
I do clearly understand what you mean about current and future housing in the zone.
Yes, you cannot, though, exclude current housing and include future housing. It becomes highly problematic.
I understand all that, and I do support it.
Thank you.
I have no problem with it.
Well, I appreciate Ms. Buchanan's her concerns and her reluctance to be involved in the district. It sort of reminds me of, what was the measure that GUSD had last year for the school bond? Was that Measure S? Measure S. Well, not everybody voted for Measure S, but we didn't go out, or they didn't go out and say, okay, well, if you didn't vote for it, you don't have to pay it. You know, that's the way that a vote for something in a district works. There's always going to be someone who's going to vote against it. At least I've never seen a vote for anything of any size that got 100% approval. That's the democratic process. That's the process that was set up here. And I do believe that that apartment building will benefit. The very problems that Ms. Buchanan describes, and by the way, they sound terrible, and I have not heard that, but I would ask Public Works to look into some of those issues with vermin and pests, because it doesn't sound good at all. But that my hope is that the whole reason for doing this is that those kinds of issues will be addressed by having this district, because instead of picking up the trash 3 days a week, they can pick up the trash every day, they can keep the sidewalks cleaner, they can keep the alleys cleaner, all of that. So I hope that as this goes forward, that at some point you'll feel that it's money well spent. And I don't know that that will happen, but that's my hope. But I understand the consultant's point that if we start excluding residential from this, we've got a whole lot of residential coming online in that area and that we hope to attract. Caruso has a lot of residential. And residential apartment buildings, as far as I know, in Glendale are considered commercial properties. They're not considered the same kind of zoning as a single-family house. They're considered commercial. They're residential commercial, I believe. So it's a little bit different. They are businesses. The people owning those buildings, they are owning it as a business, and that's who's paying the fee. So as much as I wish that it was 100%, and I wish everybody was really happy about it. We set up a certain process, for a certain democratic process, and if the majority comes forward and says that this is what they want, I'm willing to go along with the vote of the majority of the people in the district.
Okay.
Another comment. I think the greatest benefit of this district will be in the years to come. Not seeing it now, it will gradually increase as a benefit to all of the community. So it's a good deal. I just appreciate the people that have spent about a year and a half, 2 years. This was talked about years ago and it couldn't get off the ground. Finally, we got the right leaderships privately in place to do it. Thank all of you for finally doing something that's long overdue downtown.
Okay, the public hearing is concluded.
Want a motion?
No, he needs.
And
we need to count those ballots.
We talk long
the
enough
clerk
to count
will go to
ballots.
a public conference room, and where will that be exactly?
Services conference room.
All right, and right across the hall. The ballots will be counted, and they can be monitored by the public. Anyone interested in observing the counting of the ballots can go. Yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to make clear for the public who's watching at home that the ballots haven't just been turned in tonight. They've been months of people turning ballots in. So I didn't want anyone to get the impression that it was only the 5 people who were here who spoke who got to turn in ballots. They've been solicited from the properties in that area for quite a while.
Do we know approximately how many were eligible to vote?
No, I don't know what the number of parcels is. Do you know, Hassan?
I believe the consultant said about 180 properties.
180 properties. Okay, once the clerk is done counting the ballot, they will return to the council chambers, and then we will, between our agenda, will report back to the city council on the balloting results. Then we will take a vote. All right, next, Madam Clerk.
Oh, yeah. We need the council members.
Oh, they're watching, I'm sure. They're out there collecting votes, counting votes. They have to leave again.
Mr. Mayor, could I ask, and Mr. Zern and I were talking, item 8E is the Brand Boulevard maintenance, and since there is some correlation, maybe the council wants to take that item first, and then that way if the other item comes back, it'll at least have been addressed before the council.
Right. Would you read 8E into the record, please?
Item 8E, Director of Public Works, regarding special assessment rate for the Brand Boulevard Maintenance District Number 1 for fiscal year 2012-13. 8E1 is a resolution maintaining the special assessment rate.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is our annual.
Do we have a conflict on this as well?
Are you making payments on any cars there on Brand Boulevard?
No.
This is our annual resolution. This is our annual resolution to establish the assessment rate for the Brand Boulevard Maintenance District Number 1. It was originally established in 1977. A second resolution was passed for general maintenance in 1978, and then in the late 80s, 1988, I believe, a third resolution was passed that addressed specifically Christmas decorations along that street. This correlates with the Central Business District item that you just heard. If that district is to be passed, this district will administratively be meshed into that, so there'll be a single assessment in that area. Legally, we're keeping them as separate entities because this particular maintenance district includes some items that aren't included in the Central Business District, and that's primarily the Christmas decorations. Those Christmas decorations go along Brand Boulevard. Those are assessed 100% to the property owners, and so we're maintaining this assessment district to cover not only that, primarily that, but we will also have the cleaning that will be included, and that'll be combined with the Central Business District or Central Business Maintenance District, if in fact that is approved by the property owners. We're maintaining the rate at $10.25. That's consistent with the rate that's being proposed. This is a rate that we've held since 1997-98 fiscal year. Prop 218 would require us to go out to a vote if we wanted to increase that. We haven't had the need to do that. And with that, we'll answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from Mr. Zern? I hear none.
Move 8E1.
Have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Council members Friedman.
Yes.
Manukian.
Yes.
Najarian.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Mayor Quintero.
Yes. All right. I believe we can now go to the consent items. I have speaker cards on 5A, 5D, and 5E.
E as in David?
E as in David. 5A, 5D, and 5E.
We'll move the remainder of this consent calendar.
Second.
Roll call.
Council members Friedman.
Yes.
Manukian.
Yes.
Najarian.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Mayor Quintero.
Yes. 5A, please.
Item 5A are the minutes of the regular City Council meeting of Tuesday, July 10th, 2012, and the joint City Council and Housing Authority meeting of Tuesday, July 24, 2012.
I have one speaker card, Chinook Ramirez.
Thank you very much. In reference to consent item 5A from July 10th, 2012 in the Joint City Council and Housing Authority, I cannot overemphasize the dire importance in first and foremost helping eradicate Glendale, Pasadena, and Burbank's chronic impoverishment and homelessness by first serving and providing housing and employment and all-encompassing health services to all our...
Mr. Mayor, the city attorney is informing me that it's
Well,
not.
yeah, that's really outside the scope of approval of the minutes. I mean, the issue is whether the minutes reflect what occurred at the meeting, not to re-argue issues or raise new issues.
Do you have other points besides that?
Well, I just wanted to ditto and say that sadly, Glendale is not keeping its end of the bargain by employing military veterans and pilots and we have a chronic gangbanging problem. But anyway, nonetheless, I just want to thank you for that. And again, I hope you keep that in mind because we have a problem here, an epidemic of homelessness. Thank you.
Do I have
5A.
Second.
Roll call.
Council members Friedman.
Yes.
Manukian.
Yes.
Najarian.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Mayor Quintero.
Yes. 5D, please.
Item 5D, Director of Community Development regarding request for CalStar Mercedes-Benz to construct an automobile bridge for the dealership. At 5D1 is a resolution authorizing execution of property transfer, exchange, and indemnification agreement, accepting the grant deed for street fee and granting an air rights easement deed.
One speaker card, Chinook Ramirez.
Thank you. My apologies for the last item. I did the request for CalStar Mercedes-Benz to construct a 21st century automobile bridge for the dealership with the exception that it will not in any way, shape, or form employ diabolical, criminal, illegal aliens and treacherous, evil Latino gangbangers. Caveat, if not arrest and sanction all the big enchiladas at CalStar Mercedes-Benz, but demand that they hire, again, first and foremost, military veterans, whether uniformed or ununiformed, active or inactive, and all pilots. As you already know, ladies and gentlemen, many of these employers are not hiring law-abiding American citizens. And as you already know, we have a chronic suicide rate with our military veterans. I'm going to keep pumping ad nauseum until you people get it right, including you, City Attorney. I do not make a penny. I want to make that very perfectly clear. The VA nor the military top brass is paying me a penny. But I'm doing this because I believe that a reasonable person's standards have been thrown in the gutter. Again, military veterans and pilots and legal law-abiding citizens are committing suicide, and many of them are chronically homeless. Can Mercedes-Benz please hire American citizens? That is all I'm asking. And if I have to beg on my knees, I will do so. Please watch over your businesses, because many of them, like Americana and Galleria, are deplorable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I remember when we dealt with this, with a similar issue with BMW, and there was quite a number of individuals who were interested, actually, in the air rights that were granted to BMW, and we're doing the same here. I would like someone to give a briefing to the community, actually, what this item is, so that the community is aware of what we are voting for today.
Yes, we'll follow up on that.
Mr. Mayor, if you'd like a presentation, Annette Vartanian can give you a brief presentation. However, it's just for the air rights, and the main difference between this one and the BMW is that this will be only a bridge, which is the width of a driveway, as opposed to an extended area where it could be a useful area. But Annette has the details if you'd like a presentation. Otherwise,
I could maybe fill in a little. When I was with the Corps of Engineers, I developed the air rights policy with the County of Los Angeles to go over flood control channels. That's the reason the Hilton Hotel exists today, because they use the air rights over the flood control channel in order to have enough room to build their hotel. When BMW came, I suggested the same thing to them because there was a lot of resentment to closing down, I think it was Elk, whatever street there, and I suggested using the air rights issue there so that they could, cars could still go underneath it, and they could use the land above, the air above, for building, which they did. This one's much simpler. It's simply a bridge connecting so they don't have to run cars from one side of the street to the other across the street and interfere with traffic. So I'm very happy to see them doing the same thing.
Yeah, I would like to
Ms. Vartanian, can you?
to give the community a report, actually.
I enjoyed
Short report.
I enjoyed Mr. Weaver's explanation.
Had a lot of background on it.
Thank you, Mayor Quintero, members of the City Council, and members of the community. Essentially, this air rights easement would allow for the final phase of the Mercedes-Benz dealership expansion, which is in its final phase. The final project approvals were obtained in late 2008, at which time we did hold 2 community meetings for the residents that live adjacent to the Mercedes-Benz dealership, and the automobile bridge was included in those final approvals. So the community is well aware of the automobile bridge. Essentially, this bridge is to connect the service center and the new parking garage to avoid any traffic and neighborhood interruptions as they're trying to move cars between the service center and the parking garage. So it'll all be done via this a petite bridge, so it's not as large as the one at Pacific BMW. Just the project details, the Mercedes-Benz dealership is being expanded to approximately 100,000 square feet. They did some tenant improvements and facade improvements to the original showroom. They've built a brand new service center, and they're building a 4-story parking garage to store cars as well as customer and employee parking, and it should be completed in mid-2013. And this is just the final step for that.
If I may ask a question regarding the building of the facilities, and we've had a number of issues, not with not with the Mercedes dealer, but with some of the other dealers who have improved their facilities. However, their employees still park on the streets. Will CalStar have sufficient parking for their employees, and will it be provided to their employees?
As part of their approvals, they have to designate a certain portion of the parking to employees. A certain amount of that is for their customers, and then all of their inventory parking, I mean, they can stack that as much as they want. I don't think our zoning code regulates that. But part of the South Brand rezoning and the parking effort, some of those issues are being addressed, but that's a different policy.
But they are providing enough?
Yes, they are. They are
employees.
providing parking, yes.
Thank you very much. I'll move the item with that.
Second.
Roll call.
Council members Friedman.
Yes.
Menuchyan.
Yes.
Najarian.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Mayor Quintero.
Yes. 5E.
Item 5E, Director of Public Works regarding banner request from Glendale Kiwanis for use of city poles and light standards to advertise their 8th annual Duck Splash charity event. 8E1 is a motion authorizing execution of an agreement with Glendale Kiwanis.
Have one card, Vince Espinoza.
Mr. Mayor, distinguished council members, I'm Vince Espinoza. I'm the chairman of the duck race again this year. Some of you might remember me from last year. But we implemented a plan to put banners up, very colorful, designed by Susie Dell, and they were throughout the city. They measure about 32 inches by 72 inches, and it was a complete success. Can I move this up just a tiny bit?
No. Needs a council action for that.
And I'm not sure exactly what the protocol would be, but I was asked to come here and ask for permission to go ahead and do that again this year. I'm not sure exactly if we have to vote on that or
We will vote on it,
We
but
will.
it's under consent because normally we approve all consent items.
But you pulled the item, so we're going to have
Now
to
we're
decide.
going now we're going to have a big discussion. We were just going to approve it a minute ago.
Okay, is there any questions you need or answers?
Is the designer here?
Excuse me?
The designer?
The
Susie?
designer was Susie Dell, yeah.
She here?
She is not here. No, she asked me to stand in her place. I know I stand a little short of what you expect, but Susie is well known throughout the community, And the duck race is, it seems like a little early because October 13th is when we actually do the race. But
what are you raising the funds for?
We raised most of our funds. We raised over $32,000 last year for scholarships for high school kids, and basically give it to all the kids. We do an extensive interview process, interview from all the high schools. Come up with about 6 candidates per school. Then we have a committee that kind of selects the ones that we think would benefit more, or need the money more, things of that nature, and then give it right back to the community.
And how can people participate in this duck splash?
Oh, well, that's coming next. The next time you see me, we'll do a little presentation about how to get involved with the duck splash.
You should start training your ducks early, though.
Yeah. We'll be coming out with our adoption forms and calendar of events and those kinds of things. Last year we combined the whole thing with the canines in the park, and it was a phenomenal success for both parties. So we're doing that again this year.
And last year you had a council duck race. And do you remember who won the council duck race?
I believe it was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, that didn't go off as well as we thought it would because the ducks kind of sank. So I give you my word that this year it'll be a lot more fair.
There goes the other 4 votes.
Sorry.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
I'll move 5E1.
Roll call.
Councilmembers Friedman,
Yes.
Nukian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Weaver,
Aye.
Mayor Quintero.
Yes. All right, we'll return to action items.
Oral communication.
At item,
Night, Sue.
Oh, you're right. Actually, no, oral communications. Do we have any speakers for oral communications?
all right, we will go to our 3-minute portion of our oral communications.
I don't believe I have any cards, although I see Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Dottie Sharkey's here.
Oh, yeah, Donnie Sharkey.
Good evening, Mayor Quintero, members of the council and staff. My name is Leon Mayer. I would have preferred to talk earlier tonight when Bok Dong Kim was getting recognized. She spoke last night at the library. We had a good showing for her. And we have this art exhibit about the comfort women of Korea still going on at the library. And that'll go on through this weekend. And this Friday, there's going to be a Korean program by the Korean Spirit and Cultural Promotion Project entitled The Hidden Treasures of Korean Art and Modern Korea. And this is going to be 2 films. One film about the Korean cultural and artistic achievements of the Korean past, and the second film is about the economic, industrial progress they've made since World War II and the Korean War. Now, if you're going, that's this Friday starting at 6 o'clock, and there's going to be food served after the presentation. It's going to be at our auditorium at the main library. And if you like Korean food or have never tasted Korean food, I urge you all to make reservations. But you're going to have to call right away because we expect a good showing for this. And to make reservations for the dinner following the 2 films, you have to call 818-937-7817. And we also urge you to go to the library this week. The exhibit is on as far as the Comfort Women is concerned, what we call the Comfort Women Art Exhibit. That will be going on, as I said earlier, till the end of the week, and you can get further information then. But I urge you to go there right away, or else make this phone call, 818-937-9817. You have to have reservations, for the dinner this Friday night. 6 o'clock is the beginning of the film program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dottie Sharkey, followed by Sean Sahakian.
Okay.
Dinner is free.
Oh, yes, dinner is free. Free dinner.
Is that club kind of cleared the...
Yeah, we got through.
Well,
yeah,
we
with
have
the club.
police here.
So I'm Dottie Sharkey. This is Sean Zahakian and Sue Takaro. We are Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation, and we're here to tell you about 2 first ever fundraisers for parks. And the first one is our Glendale City Golf Championship. We have a little promo to show you.
The Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation is pleased to announce the inaugural Glendale City Golf Championship coming in August 2012. The event is sponsored by the local Trusted Choice Insurance Agents, and 100% of the proceeds will go to the Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation to support their mission, which is to foster well-maintained parks, picturesque open spaces, and innovative recreational programs which enrich our entire community. The first round will take place at the Shoal Canyon Golf Club on August 22nd, followed by the finals at the Oakmont Country Club on August 27th. Registration is $75 per player. For more information or to sign up, please visit GlendaleGolfChampionship.com or call 818-531-2833. Sponsorship opportunities are available. Please register today and enjoy golfing in our community while helping maintain our local parks and open space.
Okay, that's our first one coming up, and Sean will tell you about the next one.
Great. So the next one, because we're not busy enough, is going to be the first ever inaugural Glendale Dodger Night, and that's going to be taking place on Friday, September 28th. It's a 7:10 p.m. game. It's going to be against the Rockies, and it is a fundraiser, so all proceeds from ticket sales will be going to Glendale Parks Foundation, Parks and Open Space Foundation, which also benefits the community, of course. And you can buy your tickets online or at the Glendale Civic Auditorium or the Glendale Parks Community Services and Parks Department right here in the City Hall. The website is GlendaleDodgerNight.com, and we have 4 different seat locations you can get. All the tickets are discounted, so you will be getting them for less than you would from Dodger Stadium. And also, it's a very special night because in addition to being Glendale Dodger Night, it's also Tommy Lasorda's birthday, so they have a number of festivities planned for that. And it's also Friday night fireworks night. So after the game, if you go with the family, you can take your blankets and you can actually go onto the field, enjoy fireworks, and get much more than just a baseball game. Thank you.
So did we say companies can buy blocks?
Yes.
Yeah.
So groups of 30 or more can actually be seated together. So if you have a company, 30 or more. And in addition to that, you can also get your name on the scoreboard at some point during the game when they acknowledge the big groups that are attending. So that's definitely an opportunity there. And also, it is presented by the Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation.
To raise funds to benefit parks.
Let's make sure everyone gets the date, Friday, September 28th at 7 o'clock. And this is something that's been done in Glendale in the past, and it's always been very successful. Going to Dodger Stadium, you get to see all your friends. And I think the Dodgers will beat the Colorado Rockies. I don't have any doubt about that. So, very good. Come back and advertise it again.
We'll be back.
Thank you.
When is the golf tournament again?
The golf tournament there's 2. The golf tournament is Wednesday, August 22nd, and that's at Shoal Canyon. And then the finals are Monday, August 27th, and that's
How are the
Oakmont.
finals determined? So whoever wins at Shoal Canyon continues to the
Yes.
finals?
Yeah.
So you have to score low enough.
Well, we have different categories. I know nothing about golf.
Okay.
So-
The top players.
There we go.
I'll slip in for this one. The
right,
top
good.
players at Shoal Canyon will qualify for the finals. So you'll learn at the end of the day.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank
If you don't play golf, come out and say hi.
I'll play. Sign me up for golf at a minimum.
All right.
Great.
He's going to ride his mountain bike between
Yes.
holes.
Bikes allowed? No.
Find you a caddy. Go along with it.
Okay, we'll see you there.
All right.
Thank you very much. Rick Thurnell.
Good evening. My name is Rick Thurnell. I'm a Vietnam-era veteran of the U.S. Air Force. I want to thank the Glendale City Council for allowing me to say a few words about a place called Wellness Works. Wellness Works is a nonprofit natural healing establishment located less than a mile west of us here at 540 West Broadway in Glendale. It's a unique organization that has served veterans in its Welcome Home Veterans program for the last 4 years. I consider myself to be a lucky recipient of their various healing techniques for the last 2 years. In the last few years, I've had the opportunity to meet hundreds of veterans ranging from World War II to the more recent Iraq and Afghanistan wars. I do believe that our veterans deserve our recognition and support. Wellness Works has risen to that need constantly. I've spent a lot of time there, surrounded by an easygoing environment of support. Wellness Works is what I would call a feel-good place. Every time I'm there, I'm just astounded by the dedication of the staff and healers whose main goal is to serve the military veterans of our community. I've never had more heartfelt attention and professional courtesy from any other institution for the last 40 years. Like any other nonprofit organization, Wellness Works does not have an unlimited amount of funds available to provide the excellent healing they give to our veterans. They depend solely on outside funding. If you are interested in supporting or sponsoring this great institution, along with a reminder to all veterans to be involved, I invite you to come to Wellness Works or to call them at 818-247-5125 or 818-247-2062. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, that concludes oral communications. Next, please.
Item 8A, Fire Chief regarding weed abatement charges for 2011-12. 8A1 is a resolution confirming weed abatement charges.
Mr. Ochoa.
Yes, sir. As the chief comes to the podium, we have the annual task of confirming the charges for all of our brush abatement. Chief, any details?
No, just real brief. Harold Scoggins, Fire Chief. This is the charges for the weed abatement on the vacant properties that took place last fiscal year. So now all the weed abatement has been done on the vacant properties, so now it will be billed on the tax rolls. But also, if I can also take a minute to remind the community once again about this upcoming brush fire season, it's important that we make sure we take care of our weed abatement and our brush clearance here in the city, and this is just another step in ensuring the city is safe and we can do everything we can to prevent fires here in Glendale.
As an example, the 2 freeway fire a week or so ago, that was just brush.
Yes, that was right off the side of the 2 freeway, just north of Mountain on the east side. There were actually 3 starts on that fire, and it was determined to be mechanical cause, but a variety of things can start fires on hot day, equipment, sparks, and different things like that.
Chief, what happens when a homeowner doesn't do their hillside and sort of violate the fire service's direction? Jail time.
Well, a couple of things. We try to work with the homeowners here in the community to make sure that they have every opportunity to do their own weed abatement. But after those steps don't work, then we can bring in outside vendors to do the weed abatement for the homeowner. And then they won't have the benefit of negotiating the charges and different things like that.
Then either they pay it or, once again, you'll put a lien on the property,
can happen.
correct?
Question. What sort of prices are charged, Chief? And do we use GYA at all for these things? It seems as though we could solve 2 issues if we coordinate a little bit.
Councilman Najarian, GYA is used for some of the properties to clear some of the roads and points where they can actually access, but some of the more difficult locations to get to, it's best to bring in a professional crew to prevent injuries and different things like that. So, but GYA can be used, and that's an outstanding resource here in the community. The kids work hard. They're equipped with all the proper tools and different things like that, and their supervisors evaluate the job before they let let the kids go and work in a hazardous environment. But the GYA is a great resource.
Okay.
Second.
Roll call.
Council members Friedman.
Yes.
Menuchyan.
Yes.
Najarian.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Mayor Quintero.
Yes. Next, please.
8B, Director of Community Services and Parks regarding Grand Park Entry and Security Gates Project in connection with specifications number 3481. At 8B1 is a motion awarding a construction contract to ARC Construction Company in the amount not to exceed $114,000, authorizing 15% contingency funds of $17,100, and rejecting all other bids.
Mr. Ochoa.
Yes.
Well, I've seen the report and looked at the finances, and I know that all bids were included in the report, so I'll move the item if there are no questions from council.
Second.
Roll call.
Council members Friedman.
Can we just put on the board just what it's going to look like? I think, Brand Park, we historically have had some problems after hours and unlimited access. As a result of the council's concern for this, many years ago, I think, we directed Parks Department to try and find a solution that would keep out the unwanted during the off hours, but at the same time do justice to the historic site that we're dealing with at Brand Park. So if you've got, I don't know what you have, but if you've got some just graphics on what it's going to look like, it would be great.
Of course, Mayor Quintero, members of the City Council. Go to the next slide. Rita, please. This is the existing condition at the Brand Library. As you can see, there are no gates at the entrance and exit driveways. There is an existing ornamental gate in between the columns. To close the park at night, we simply have a chain that's hooked across the driveways. So we are proposing new swing gates at that entrance, which is called the east entrance, in addition to the west entrance. Could we have the next slide, please? In addition to the west entrance, we will be installing new wrought iron gates. This entrance at least has a swing bar type gate. So the improvements will include the gates. We will have to restore the existing wrought iron gates that are there now in between the columns, so that everything will match and look the same once we're done. We will need to restore the historic concrete columns. They do need some work. They need some patching and sanding. And we will be installing a new traffic island east of the main entry. It'll be like a bump out at the main entrance. And we will also do some minor landscaping. And as Mr. Weaver indicated, the engineer's estimate was $120,000. We did receive a qualified low bid of $114,000, which we are recommending for award of contract, in addition to $17,000 or 15% contingency for the project. So fortunately, it's within the budget.
At night, dark, are you painting it black?
The fence?
The gates, because
yes, the gates.
In the dark, wouldn't a light color, white or something, be more visible to a driver that's flowing down there and doesn't see the black gate? Or will it be light enough from other light around it?
Well, in terms of the ornamental nature of the gates that we're trying to stick with, it would call for a dark color.
Okay.
We also have, we will have reflectors in order.
Okay.
Yeah. And you also know that Brand Library is just starting construction. So this will be coordinated with that, and once that construction is completed, we'll have a better sense of how it all plays together.
When you say it's coordinated, you're going to be putting the gates up before the construction?
Yes.
And during construction, we'll be able to lock the gates to make the construction site more secure as well.
We should make sure that we have some sort of extra patrols up there during construction, given the thefts we've had at some of our other construction sites and the historic nature of that building. And also, we need to make sure it's secured at all times.
That, Madam, Ms. Friedman, that is included as part of our construction contract, and we're also looking at the possibility if we need to have security in there after hours to do that. But the contractor is required to keep that very secure when construction is not taking place.
Any other questions?
Did you have a motion?
I have a motion. Well, we did have a motion in the second. Roll call, please.
Council members Friedman?
Yes.
Anukian?
Yes.
Najarian?
Yes.
Weaver?
Aye.
Mayor Quintero?
Yes. Next, please.
Item 8C, Director of Community Services and Parks regarding car park security gates and park renovation project in connection with specification number 3482. At 8C1 is a motion awarding a construction contract to ARC Construction Company in the amount not to exceed $337,000, authorizing 15% contingency of $50,550 and rejecting all other bids. At 8.2 is a resolution appropriating $102,070.92 of CDBG-R funds for the project.
Mr. Duran.
Go to the car slides. Yes, Mayor Quintero, members of the City Council. The next slide will depict the existing condition at Car Park. As you can see, this is on Colorado, the Colorado frontage. There currently is no fence, nor is there a fence at the back end. There are only fences and walls on the sides of the park. So obviously the intent here is to install a new security fence. This fence will be, again, wrought iron. It'll be 8 feet tall. We are also including a monument sign, which will be 4 feet high at its highest point. We are also including, as part of the improvements, extensive tree pruning to increase the visibility for security purposes and to help the police out as they make their patrols. We will be improving the lighting. In some cases, we will be relocating light standards, and we will be adding a couple of additional light standards. We will be replacing the picnic benches. We will be adding ADA path of travel improvements. We will do some irrigation and minor landscaping, and we will install a trash enclosure for the trash bin, which currently does not exist. In terms of the bids that were received, we did have 12 construction firms attend the pre-bid job walk. We received 5 bids. The lowest bidder withdrew his bid due to a clerical error. So we are recommending the awarded contract to ARC Construction, which happens to be the same contractor that received the contract for the brand gates. So that will make it easier for us and easier for the contractor. And the engineer's estimate for that project was $300,000, so we're about $30,000 above the original engineer's estimate. The other thing related to this is a transfer of CDBG, American Recovery and Reinvestment Act funds. We had $40,000 left over from administration that we ended up not needing to spend for administration. Therefore, we'd like to recycle it and use it for this project instead in order to free up or offset what would otherwise be CIP funds, because CIP funds are a lot more flexible and could be used in other parks and other areas of the city. Then there are $61,000 in CDBGR New Horizons Child Care Center projects. These are funds that were reimbursed back to the city from building permits that were paid that were refunded back to the project. And again, we want to recycle those funds. And so we're recommending to recycle these funds back into this project.
Are you handling this project?
Mr. Najarian.
Couple questions. I guess I've gotten spoiled in getting estimates that have been below the engineer's cost estimate. Bids that are below the engineer's cost estimate. This is about 10% more. Is this a new trend we're seeing, or is just the nature of the wrought iron work something that's not as sensitive previously to the slowdown in general construction?
It's a very good question. I'm going to ask the project manager to answer that question, and he happens to be a specialist in engineering, so
I know Shahi usually brings them in underestimate.
Well, good afternoon,
Here ahead of
Quintero, council members.
Your name for the record?
Engineer's estimate on this project Shahan Begumen, project manager for this project for car park security. The engineer's project for the railings for this project was low. From day one when I got this, I knew it, I communicated with Jess, with Emmy, the numbers will be about $25,000 more than what we have. Because that's what I used to do. That's structure steel, ornamental work. That's I used to have my own company, so I knew the number. The consultant that put in is.
Okay, so we had underbid it. We had underestimated.
We were, and when we got the first bid, the day we opened up, I knew he was going to withdraw because there was no way he could have done that project with that price. So.
Thank you. And the other, thank you very much. The other thing I want to say is, in many respects. Echoing the remarks for Brand Park, but this was a problem park for us. We used to hear from the neighborhood extensively about the issues at Car Park, about gang members coming in there after hours, to being able to elude the police due to the length of the park and hide around corners and things. So this is another positive step that Council's taking towards securing two of our nicer parks. One of our perhaps greatest park and another one of our smaller community parks. So we caught, this was a hot issue. I don't know if people remember 4 or 5 years ago, there were a couple residents that were very vocal about this. I'm glad that now council and park staff and Shai that we've been able to put something together, find the funds, and secure these parks so we make sure we can control the use. So I think this is a good job, pat on the back for council on this, for these two park issues. We're kind of slamming them through quickly, but these were tough issues for many, many months as the neighbors came to complain. I don't hear any of them here saying what a great job, so that's why I'm sort of tooting the own horn at this point.
I remember it very well, and there were major issues at Car Park, assaults, all sorts of strange activity in the restrooms, you name it, during the day, at night, drug dealing, etc. And I think both the police department and parks have come a long way in their enforcement activities. And the money that we spent to redo this park throughout the years, this isn't the beginning, this is sort of the end. And I think we've done a great job. I love the fencing. I think it's really a great design, and it's going to work really well there on Colorado. So it's going to be another gem in the parks system.
Speakers on this side?
I do have some speakers. Mr.
Question. Will do we have video surveillance cameras in the park?
Well, sir, we're running the conduits for it. All over the park.
For the future, we can.
In the future, we're running through, for Brand Park. For Car Park.
Right.
Whatever project that we've done, we have those,
Good. So whenever we want to appropriate the money to hook it up.
Exactly. We can do it. It's ready to go.
How about getting an estimate for us?
Getting estimates?
Getting an estimate to the council.
For the cameras?
For the cameras?
Yeah. It's right on the border with Eagle Rock.
No.
It's up to us, I think, to direct staff to.
I know, but I'd like to know what the cost is. Budget constraints we have.
Council has to tell them, go get the cost estimate.
Go get the cost estimate.
I have two speaker cards, Chinook Ramirez, followed by Mike Mohill.
Thank you very much. I've consolidated both sections A and C because they both have the same underlying thread of security gates, public safety, and safety with your own preservations of one sacred physical, emotional, and financial privacy. I'm going to disclose a Glendale's terrible secret of no security nor public safety, really. Let me give you an examples of deplorable safety and security practices by the following in the city of Glendale. Furthermore, I have used thousands of dollars of my own money to ensure, so I thought, safety, protection, privacy, and peace of mind. But I was blown away because it was a waste of time and complete failure by the using of the bait and switch tactics, which is very evident in Glendale. For example, I checked into the Glendale Lodge Hotel. They use a high security, the card keys, and video surveillance. To my chagrin, I found out that the housekeepers and the Latino housekeepers and the Latino maintenance are letting the gangbangers in. So if the chief of police wants to go to a Latino convention, and what they will do is they'll bribe to get into the chief police room, and they'll put or insert some kind of a video. And that's how people can penetrate any of you and me, or any of us that go into a business establishment in Glendale. And so the bait and switch is very much alive and kicking. Also, the central storage, video surveillances. Again, the gangbangers penetrate all these systems through their, again, illegal immigrants and ADT. I pay a lot of money for these, again, ADT, and again, your security systems and your border, your patrol system.
You need to find a nexus between the security gates at Carr and Brand Park.
Okay, the connection with that, thank you, Mayor, is your inside employers are hiring illegals, and these illegals are getting paid under the table to allow these convicts, criminals, to go in and commit criminal mayhem. It's very simple.
Mike Mohill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Quintero. My name is Mike Mohill. I know we're talking about a lot of things about security, but it also says park renovation. My concern is during this park renovation, is anybody considering having some type of a practice field for the soccer players in the area? There's a lot of kids in that area. I know soccer is very popular. It's not a gate issue, but it's a, as long as you're doing the renovation, I was wondering if the park director is thinking about putting in some type of a temporary or some type of a practice field for the kids to play soccer. Thank you.
Okay. Any comments?
A motion. Move 8D1.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmembers Friedman.
Yes, sir.
Wait.
C.
Wrong one. 8C 1 and 2. Sorry.
Second.
Councilmembers Friedman.
Yes.
Manukian.
Yes.
Najarian.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Mayor Quintero.
Yes. Next, please.
At 8D, Directors of Human Resources and Administrative Services, Finance regarding Employee Retirement Incentive Program. At 8D1 is a resolution appropriating $1,711,890 to fund the supplemental retirement plan for fiscal year 2012-13.
Mr. Ochoa.
Yes, sir. This is the next step in getting towards the final steps in the reorganization that we have before you, that the council approved as part of this current fiscal year's budget. As you know from last week's meeting, we have reduced or in the process of reducing the workforce considerably. One means of doing that is through the retirement incentive, and what you have before you is a appropriation to effectuate that incentive. So Mr. Doyle will give you the details.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this item is a resolution of appropriation to provide the funding for the PARS retirement supplementary program. As you know, May 29th, this program was approved by the council. The effort was an effort to facilitate movement in the city's effort to downsize this organization and to help close the budget shortfall for the 2012-2013 fiscal year. As you might expect, this program was quite successful. We had 117 eligible employees choose to participate, which we believe will bring forth substantial ongoing savings. Those savings, of course, are derived from the vacancies created by these retirements of those positions that are filled. many of which will be filled with lower classifications and lower salary steps. These savings are going to be compared against the cost of the plan, which will be amortized over 4 years. Essentially, we're looking at a cost of roughly $1.5 million per year in order to save a gross amount of approximately $9.5 million per year. This appropriation is broken down into various categories. Essentially, all the employees that are participating, the costs will be split into the various funds of their departments. Obviously, we do recommend your approval of this resolution, and if you have any questions, be happy to try and answer them. We have Mr. Elliott, our finance director, is here as well as representatives from PARS, Mr. Eric O'Leary and Juan Chimena. So,
any questions? I have one card. Mike Mohill.
Good evening, Mayor Quintero and council members and the viewing audience. My name is Mike Mohill. Years ago, City Gadfly said bloated salaries and unfunded and unsustainable pensions would one day bring our government to a standstill and possible bankruptcy. Our City Council, the Gadflies for the city unions, put in place a Band-Aid fix of a 2-tier salary step for new city employees, which included changing their retirement age from 50 to 55, but still maintain pension retirement with 90%, 75%, 60% of employees' last years of spiked salary. A favorable move by the city unions, but not for the folks who have to pay the bills. How credible can an organization be when they pay many firefighters over $100,000 to over $200,000 a year for a job that is supposed to be very dangerous, but according to the U.S. Department of Labor, a firefighter's occupation is not listed as one of the 20 most dangerous jobs. In addition, firefighters can retire at age 50 or 55 with 30 years of service and receive a lifetime pension of 90% of their last years of spiked earnings. 2 days ago, as reported in the Daily News, Los Angeles Fire Department had 17,000, I said 17,000 applicants for just 300 openings. Years ago, council should have restructured our city employment with Social Security, a 401k plan, hiring at will, a standard medical and dental plan. Additionally, we should never have been part of the corrupt CalPERS 7.5% investment guarantee program. Had we eliminated collective bargaining, the Civil Service Commission, and the seniority system today, the city would not be laying off people with a 2-year retirement package.
Okay, your time's done.
I'm told we have 3 minutes, sir.
No, I gave you 2 minutes.
No one told me 2 minutes. I'm sorry, Mayor Quintero.
All right, I'll give you one more minute. Go ahead and finish up. We've heard it before. That's why.
Well, no, this is a little bit of a change, sir, for the viewing audience. Government unions and their stranglehold on city government must come to an end. When council members can legally receive campaign money from the political action committees of our unions and then sit down and negotiate with them, then there is a perception of a conflict of interest and with the voters to compromise. I have in my hand, council members and the viewing audience, a list dated calendar year 2011 of approximately 700 city employees with salaries over $100,000 annually and about 20 employees with salaries of over $200,000 annually. These employees will be receiving pensions of over $100,000 for life when they can retire at age 50 or 55. Is that right, council members? We need new leadership that is willing to make and change the status quo. Thank you. My name is Mike Mohill.
Okay. You have a motion?
Yeah, and I heard not one single word or not even a sentence that was anything new to this council. Thank you, Mr. Mohill. I'll move 8D1.
Second.
Okay, any comments?
I'd like to make a
Mr.
comment.
Menuchyan?
Yes. This is a resolution appropriating the funds to go through what we have committed as a council to the individuals who are retiring in the city, who are retiring early, who are accepting the how do you word that?
The retirement incentive.
Early retirement.
Retirement incentive. The council is committed already. This is just an appropriation of the funds. However, we are appropriating $1.7 million. That will save us approximately $8 million a year with the retirements.
When you net it out.
When you net it out, we're saving approximately $7 million.
Isn't that what Mr. Mohill was trying to say?
I understand, Mr. Mohill. On this issue, I disagree with him.
All right, we had a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Council members Friedman.
Yes.
Menuchyan.
Yes.
Najarian.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Mayor Quintero.
Yes. I believe we're ready to talk about the balloting. Is that correct?
Sir.
If I may, just
Yes.
for the record, Mr. Najarian and Mr. Councilmember Menuchyan, since you did recuse yourself to continue.
You will have to drag me away.
Okay,
Questions on this?
the ballots have been turned in and counted.
Yes, sir, they have been. And Rita, did you want to read it? Okay.
We have a majority yes votes at 69% and 31% no.
And how about property owners that didn't vote at all?
I'll have to refer that.
Are we going to be able to we will be able to know what percentage didn't vote at all, right?
Mr. Lansafame, I think, has analyzed that.
I'm sorry, I was back at the last thing. Actually, we would like to report that there was not a majority protest. Part of the code, just a little housekeeping. Then I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Well, okay, 69% voted in the affirmative, and what was the percentage for no's?
31%.
31 no.
Of those that voted.
Yeah, those that voted. I'm just curious if, whenever we can, I'd like to know what percentage of property owners didn't vote at all, even though they've been contacted, et cetera.
Well, 46% did not vote.
Okay.
It wasn't that 46% would have voted no. 46%.
They didn't vote at all. They chose not to vote.
Well, and also that includes the city. The city's vote was part of the 46% that was not counted into this. So this is the 54% who voted excludes the city.
Oh, okay. That's interesting,
I think that would mean that they didn't have a great objection.
Right.
They would have voted no.
Yeah. Okay, so the measure passes. What is next?
I'll move 9A1 plus 9A1.
Second.
All right, and let me just say that I do think this is a good idea. I think overall it is going to benefit all of the property owners in this district, and certainly the city is going to play a role in this, and decisions will be made for the overall good of the city, not for individual businesses or property owners. So overall, I think this is a benefit for all of the property owners and for the surrounding community. Roll call.
Council members Friedman.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Mayor Quintero.
Yes.
For the record, the motion passes, and the 7 requirements of Streets and Highways Code Section 36625 are incorporated into the resolution that was just adopted by Council.
Sloan.
Mayor Quintero, thank you. I just want to take an opportunity to thank you for your consideration this evening, as well as our consultant, Marco Lamandri from New City, and most especially city staff for their guidance and patience and direction for the last 21 months. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Peace be with you.
Next, we have oral communications.
Item 6 is the 5-minute portion of oral communications. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Speakers allowed 5 minutes. Council may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. City manager may refer the matter to the appropriate department for investigation and report.
Chinook Ramirez, followed by Mike Mohill.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to prove to Officer Vidal, Quintero, and Officer Shine and Popolitis that I'm not crazy, I'm not on any medication. But those of us who stand up for what is right, just, decent, and pure, we will always be belittled. Why? Because they are cowards and they have no morals or values. Having said that, I went earlier before the city council, I went to the city attorney's office, and I let them know that I've been criminally stalked by these gangbangers and illegals. As a matter of fact, there was one sitting in the row at the first seat, and in front of the officer, I said to him, I don't trust you, and I knew he turned red, he got uncomfortable, and I said, I got you pegged, baby. I know you're not real. They're following and stalking me even in here. So the officer was listening, and he got up and took off. Bingo. Knew it. Having said that, I want to show some of the pictures of the, on the monitor. I want to show some of the pictures and show the officers that I'm not crazy, that I actually go out in the dirt of the night and take pictures of these gangbangers. I carry my things when I stay in hotels. I don't trust the hotels. I don't trust my storage. I carry my things. Should I have to do that? But I do. Why? Because people have no ethics, no business ethics. Everybody's hiring cheap labor. So people like me end up carrying our bags. And that to me is just unconscionable. And again, I want to show the pictures and show you what the gangbanging world is all about. It's coming from East LA all the way to the Glendale, Burbank, and Pasadena. Why? Because you're the ritzy towns. So these people are coming in, and they are through the labor, cheap labor, Latinos who get paid off to allow these people to snoop in through your things or tamper with your food and or vandalize your property. Therefore, I bring everything with me because I don't want the housekeeper to snoop through my things. Okay? And that to me is just frustrating as hell, but I intend to change that and show the world this Mexicana does not snoop through people's things. I don't believe in violating people's privacy or their space or their person. I also know that the Latinos, and I know you know this, Latinos, they do the brujeria, the witchcraft. They drop crap all over your steps, cockroaches, dead birds. This is a form of witchcraft that the Latinos are good at, and they'll do it just because they're jealous. They're jealous hate mongers. And I got that all the time. That's why my attorney pulled me out of where I was living and put me in the hotel. And boy, I have become an expert in hotels because I do now know the shenanigans that are being played in the hotel industry. It is deplorable. People do not know that these housekeepers actually allow these gangbangers to snoop through your things, even maintenance people. And boy, the little eye signals that they give each other, the license plates that I write all over my hands, the pictures that I spend thousands of dollars on pictures. What have I lived? I haven't lived but been consumed in the gangbanging world, in the Latino, the deplorable, the cheap labor that you people hire. And people like me are forced to live in this godforsaken cesspool and wipe up the poop all over out of my steps and out of everywhere I go. Every corner from there, Isabel, and all over that I come here walking and they follow me, parked out in front of the streets, license plates right here. And God knows I've already called the DEA and the immigration and all the other departments. So having said that, I am tired, I am frustrated, but I'm not crazy. I just got a good eye for people. And having said that, I want to thank the chief of Anaheim, John Welter, and having said to him a year and a half while ex-Mayor Pringle was still in the House, in the throne, with wonderful Lucille Kring as well as councilwoman, I told them that there will be a riot, a melee breaking out. Bingo, it happened. And now God bless the city of Anaheim. They are enforcing the law, and I would hope that Chief John Welter, whom I know, does not barter with these domestic terrorists. I pray, I ask and I plead the world to pray for the chief of John Welter of Anaheim, Mayor Tom Tate, and all the others. Let's bring civility, refinement, and bring back the standards of America under the reasonable person standard. What happened? Why should we be held hostage because we stand for the right thing? Why should we be called crazy because we got the balls to stand up for the right thing? Again, I do not make a penny, but I guarantee you I'm going to take everyone on. And again, God bless Anaheim. God bless Chief John Welter. Enforce the law. Do not barter with these criminal deviants and hate mongers. They are jealous of Americans and they want to break and destroy every fiber of America. Deport, deport, deport. No asylum and no amnesty. Help us to enforce the beautiful laws of America. Bring back Dennis the Menace and all these great, beautiful values and morals and greatness of the American way. That's what I want. I don't want anything else. I'm not asking you for a penny, but bring back and restore America. That's all I want. And again, Anaheim, thank you so much. It happened, and guess what? It's going to happen here too. Remember, I said it. So having said that, God bless our pilots and God bless our military. Thank you.
Mike Mohill, followed by Fran Majorana.
Good evening, Mayor Quintero, council members, and the viewing audience. My name is Mike Mohill. Last week, when I presented to this council and the viewing audience the 20 most dangerous jobs, most dangerous occupations, according to the U.S. Department of Labor, firefighters were not listed. The following occupations were listed. Number 1, truck drivers, followed by farm occupations, construction laborers, supervisors, proprietors, sales, non-construction laborers, police, detectives, and supervisors, electricians, cashiers, airplane pilots, guards, taxi cab drivers, timber cutters, carpenters, groundkeepers, and gardeners, welders and cutters, roofers, commercial fishermen, auto mechanics, structural metal workers, and electrical power installers. Many safety personnel, fire and police, have salaries and benefits of over $100,000 annually. You can take it down now, Rita, thank you. At age 50 or 55 with 30 years of service, firefighters can retire with pensions of over 90% of their last year of spiked salary, and the folks who pay the bills need to work to age 67 plus to receive a small security check. Council members, recently 17,000 applicants, that's 17,000 applicants filed for just 300 job openings in the Los Angeles Fire Department. And last year, Glendale Police Department had 4 positions and 300 applicants. These applicants would be more than glad to have a job today without a pension and only receive a Social Security check and a 401k plan. Over the next several years, Glendale ratepayers will start paying another 13% for water infrastructure. Today, the GWP has given the ratepayers a no-win choice. Either increase my electrical rate 14.7% or 17.4% over the next several years, or infrastructure repairs. This is just another gimmick to extract more money from the public. Rather than paying for the infrastructure repairs of the GWP through the revenues received, Council has decided again, as some would say, to violate the city charter and the Constitution and illegally transfer another $20 million to the general fund to pay for the salaries and the pensions of the city workers. And will this tell the public we have a balanced, and Council will tell the public we have a balanced budget, unlike other cities. The need for additional revenue for infrastructure repairs was brought on by the mismanagement of the previous 3 city councils, GWP management, and the senior staff. 4 council members in recent years have legally received thousands of dollars in campaign monies and endorsements from the political action committees of the Firefighters Association, the Police Association, the City Managers Association, and the General Employees Association. And as we saw last week, all 5 of our city council members continue to approve compromise contracts in favor of the unions, sadly without dissent. When our bills come due from the GWP, the ratepayers will have another rate increase to pay for the salaries and the pensions of our city workers. Because our council members do not represent the voters who put them into office, but have become the spokesperson and the pawns of the city unions. And again, our city council members no longer are the servants of the people. As former city employees leave Glendale at 50 and 55 with their $100,000 annual pensions for life, ordinary people, people on fixed incomes, people who lost their savings in the stock market and the bond market, Social Security recipients, and small business owners can feel good knowing that they made it possible for the city worker to be able to leave our city in grand style. But the public can do something in April 2013. The good citizens of Glendale will have an opportunity to vote out of office the incumbent council members. These incumbent candidates do not represent the people of Glendale, but are the voices of the city unions who eventually will put our city someday into bankruptcy. The city files for bankruptcy, city pensions will become null and void. My name is Mike Mohill. Thank you.
Majorana Margaret Hammond.
Evening, Your Honor, members of council and city staff. My name is Margaret Hammond. First and foremost is an important issue, free bulky item pickups. They must continue because I see this week again a large amount of bulky items lying around in my neighborhood. And it's very much appreciated when they get cleaned up. And then I want to make an announcement for the Committee for Clean and Beautiful. We would like to invite you to a farewell reception that we are giving for Sam Engel after his 23 years of service, of visionary leadership. It will be August the 2nd in room 105, 106 from 10 to 12 p.m. And, you know, over the years, Sam has always been out there meeting people, being part of the community, and the poster contest alone, as I say, I mean, 10,000 children, that doesn't even count their parents or their siblings or their grandparents. Nil graffiti in the city, practically. Shopping baskets no longer clutter our streets. All of this was under his guidance. Many national awards from KAB. Our city has received year after year first place for the city of our size for our programs. So I do want to say we have to honor him, and he is a very concerned person, lives in our city and loves it. The Assistance League of Glendale, on Friday and Saturday, the 3rd and 4th, they're going to have their Christmas boutique. And that will be 10 o'clock till 3 o'clock. The address is 314 East Harvard, which is near the Central Library. It's a very good program because of the programs that they maintain through the thrift shop. And they have lots of wonderful things there, I can tell you. Now, my main point at this is about voter ID requirements. We need volunteers to get on that TPAC. It's tpac.net. The information is available through the federal government, and many states have taken advantage of it, of requiring ID, either a driver's license or legal ID, so that it does away with all this nonsense of people 14 people supposedly living in one house, and they change their name, their front name, their last name, and so forth, and vote. So I really believe it's a good thing in California to have this requirement. As I say, there are at least 15 or 20 states at this time that are taking advantage of what is available from the federal government regarding this situation. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's the last card. I have a motion to adjourn. Yeah, Mr. Weaver.
A couple comments. Mr. Mulvihill left right after he spoke, so I can't respond to him directly. But I hope he understands that once he declares his candidacy for City Council in January, he can no longer stand up here and give campaign speeches. He's done with that. Secondly, if my eyes were reading that chart right he put up, it didn't say dangerous positions, it said fatalities. Where's the correlation between fatalities and dangerous jobs? Fire have one of the most dangerous jobs there is, but they train well every day. They're training to keep themselves safe and to keep the public safe. There's no correlation between dangerous jobs and people that die. So I hope he revises his speech next week to tell the truth. With that, I'll move we adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. In a second?
Second.
We are adjourned.